Let's explore the on-truth about meditation peacefulness. This evening's lesson is drawn from a good-hearted question found on Reddit. It begins, "Is this how meditation should be always?" They wrote, "They who shall be not unnamed. I did watch your video. That was great. I was not tired last night, and it really helped me ease off to sleep." Lama Jigme, your mindless droning was an antidote to lucidity. It turned off my brain. It zombified me. It was very interesting because typically, with my eyes closed, whether meditating or not, I always have a little pressure behind my eyes. So it is difficult to just look into nothingness. This time, using your method, it was like I was able to stare straight ahead with eyes closed with no pressure and see into peaceful dark tundra. No sparklings, flickering dots while eyes closed. Quite peaceful. Is this how meditation should be always? And now I must be a nudnik and give an annoying answer. And what, OJ? What, Jared, is the most annoying answer I can give? It depends. It depends on what your goal is. Is your goal to fall asleep? Because the way I meditate when I'm in bed with the intention of falling asleep is different from the way I intend to meditate this evening. For instance, I have this whole program to go to bed. I get my bed ready, I sit on the couch, I read a novel. Right now I think I'm reading something by a great detective, a great neo-noir author from the 60s or 50s or 40s. I'm not sure. His name eludes me, but he's famous. Anyway, so I'm reading a neo-noir with one eye. So in some metaphysical systems, gazing through your right eye is invigorating, and gazing through your left eye only is pacifying. So as you can imagine, before bed, I'm gazing through my left eye. And when it starts to involuntarily close to the point where I can't complete a sentence, that's when I set the phone down, because I do my reading on my phone, and I shuffle off to bed. Once I've laid down, I alternate between two practices. First, I will use a highly metaphoric contemplation of both impermanence and interdependence involving all four bases of mindfulness. It sounds more difficult than it is, and hopefully we'll get to it in tonight's practice section of the live stream. And then after that, I do a very gentle, very passive counting meditation. In-breath is odd, out-breath is even. And that way I can tell when I've lost count. When I've lost count or lost interest, I go back to the contemplation again. And as you can imagine, the goal there is not enlightenment. The goal is just to polish off my last bit of mental energy. For someone with ADHD and autism, going to bed is an Olympic event. So that's how I meditate right before bed. But that's not how I meditate when I'm processing trauma. When I'm processing trauma, I'll stick with the go-to this ease. And for those tuning in for the first time, this is how this ease works. It is the opposite of active concentration and active contemplation, which can only be done by utilizing mechanisms in our brain, such as the medial prefrontal cortex or the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. When the prefrontal cortex is overused, our amygdala lights up, the seat of aggression and anxiety. When we ignore this symptom of a fatigued prefrontal cortex and push forward, we can begin presenting with symptoms of depression. So that's a big no-no. Allow me to introduce you to the part of your central nervous system that is optimized for mindfulness and meditation. Let us begin with the seventh fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are already wired to effortlessly and automatically access the sympathetic nervous system located in the middle third of our spinal cord. It has evolved to support perception that is vulnerable, passive, visceral, and random. It has evolved to support our ability to perceive sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. It has evolved our ability to perceive emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. It has evolved our ability to perceive great swaths of data, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. All passive, vulnerable, visceral, and random. Now, this can seem rather overwhelming. This brings us to the eighth fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, meditation. Every time we exhale, whether we mean to or not, we passively, vulnerably, automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system located in both the lower third and the upper third of our same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support both our physical relaxation as well as our mental release. So if I am processing trauma, I will perform this meditation silently, mentally, and passively reciting the demonstrative pronoun this as I breathe in, silently, mentally, and passively reciting the one-syllable verb ease as I relax. I will do this actually, let me be a little bit more precise. If I'm walking, I tend to use the three-syllable version, which is perceiving and releasing. They're synonyms. So as I'm walking briskly around the block or around the neighborhood, it's perceiving, releasing. And I'm just swinging my legs, and I'm swinging my arms, and I'm petting dogs. And it really helps to the hippocampus to process trauma. But there's times I'm not processing trauma. There's times I wish to simply master the Buddha's path. So then I will sit in an, this is going to sound salacious, I will sit in a posture that is as erect as it is sustainable. And I will persist with this ease. And it's not my job to determine how peaceful it is or how invigorating it is. It's not my job to determine how pleasurable or painful or interesting or boring or glorious or grotesque it is. I am to treat the experience the way a patron treats the theater. A patron who understands that he or she is not the producer, not the director, not the playwright, not the thespian, but merely a bloke in the audience, sucking on a hard candy, watching the antics of thespians upon the stage. One of the keys, one of the symptoms of mastery of the Buddha's Eightfold Path is that our attitude, not our self-talk, but just our viscera, seems to be really laid back. Pretty much like the dude in The Big Lebowski. Whatever comes, we let it come. Whatever stays, we let it stay. Even if it pisses on the carpet that really holds the room together. Ties the room together. Even if it goes and takes with it the ashes of Donnie. We let it unfold. Just as we let our breath come, just as we let our avayoli process the breath, just as we let the breath go. Every day, many times a day. So those could be, whoopsie, wrong button. Those could be described as the different modes of meditation. Spiritual mastery, emotional processing, or Betty Bye time. I hope you find that useful. If my eyes are half-masked and I'm extra dopey, that's because yesterday was a big old outing. Went to see the doctor, and he was a perfect gentleman. It was very nice. It was all good news, but it was still an Olympic event. Damn it! So, wouldn't it be funny if there was an Olympic event? The 100-meter curmudgeon, the 200-meter Cocker-Pitzer. Anywho. So I look forward to practicing with you this evening as much as I can. And so if I'm slurring extra, I apologize for that. My beverage of choice is really watered down coffee. So I was once speaking to an addict, and he asked me my drug of choice is, and I said, my body is haywire. My body produces an entire pharmacopoeia, from hallucinogens to barbiturates to amphetamines. And I just try to, my drug of choice is doggies and kitties. I couldn't tell if he was disgusted or jealous, really. But, so I do look forward to practicing with you. But first, I spy out of my little eye a question. So, quick like a bunny, I'm going to tap button 8 and see if that doesn't reveal the question. So, good old Jared wrote, I hope to one day travel the world, but to get through my fears, any advice? And by the way, that's well written. I like that. It's very lyrical. So, prepare yourself for a disappointing answer. We select what we feel at our peril. I have a diagram for this. So let's see. Let's tap button 5 again. And let's go to the right. Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. So 90% of folks tend to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. We can be rigid, we can be controlling. I will choose the emotion, and if I experience the emotion I do not want, we have ways to deal with those emotions. And they are not pleasant ways. That's right. We become a villain from an Indiana Jones movie. 10% of humanity is enthusiastic to be flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. So, to be flexible, to be laid back, it's not our job to say, fear, you are the weakest link, goodbye. No, we don't get to do that. We get to go, I shall label you this. It's kind of like Bobo the circus boy with a brand new pet. I will love him, and I will bathe him, and I will name him George. So I've got this emotion, and I name it this, and what am I going to do with the emotion named this? I'm going to ease. Just like the musical The Wiz, I'm going to ease on down the road. So, how do we know if the time is right to travel? No less where to travel or how to go. Simple. Glad you asked. Let us discuss some of the fringe benefits of having a regular practice and an effective practice of mindfulness and meditation. But first, I will favor you with a tune from my schnoz. That's right, Jared. All class, all the time. So, I'm going to share with you 2 fringe benefits of a regular practice of mindfulness and meditation. Number 1, it soothes, not only does it soothe our aggressive and anxious amygdala, but number 2, it fires up this hunk of meat. Kind of looks like a baseball glove. Baseball mitt? Yeah, baseball mitt. Big kids call it the anterior cingulate gyrus. It functions as the seat, as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy and compassion and love. It has been said by the greatest Dzogchen lamas that the highest love is spontaneous and uncontrived. And now the second fringe benefit. The more we make of mindfulness and meditation a habit, the more our choices, utterances, and deeds could flow with the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, not scattered spontaneity, but centered spontaneity. And so, when we find ourselves spontaneously making plans, just spontaneously, recreationally, it just happens. We know we're moving in the right direction. And a dear heart once said, oh, but what if you love planning? Then plan. Plan from a place of centered spontaneity. But be neither the master nor the servant of the plan. You can plan it, you can write it down. It doesn't mean you have to follow it. It doesn't mean you have to miss your flight. We can flow with our plans gently, from a place of centeredness, from a place of delight, from a place of joy and fun, which is much more fun than from a place of neurosis and terror. Once again, the product of concentration is terror. The product of mindfulness and meditation is groovy empathy. Much more fun. In fact, joy and peace are the fourth and fifth enlightenment factors, signposts on the road of meditation that we're going in the right direction. Now, does that mean you will never feel anxious? Of course you'll feel anxious. Congratulations, Mazel Tov, you get to have the entire spectrum of human emotions because I reckon you're a human. If you live on Earth, you get to have the entire spectrum of emotions. Ta-da! But because of love's centered spontaneity, they don't define you. There's a difference between driving down the road in a car and passing a tree versus driving down the road, swerving and hitting the tree. This is hitting the tree. This is noticing the tree as you pass by and go, gosh, what a pretty tree. Actually, that's also here. Gosh, what a pretty tree. Huh, I'm forgetting about the tree now. Versus, I'm on the tree. Woo-hoo! I've bashed my car in the tree, and it's now defining my life. So, the tree is experienced by both the prefrontal cortex and the autonomic nervous system, but in different ways. For instance, think about your mom. I bet you related to your mom differently than your dad did. Now that everyone's grossed out, she's still the same person. But y'all relate to her differently. Similarly, there's still peril. There's still excitement. There's still adventure. But we can relate to it from this place or from these places. The choice is yours. I leave it to you. I do look forward to practicing with you tonight after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School for more than 30 years. I spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you won't have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Tonight, I thought it could be grand if together as a team we played with Dojam Lingpa's Easy Tantra, also known as Tesar Nyondro, translated from Tibetan into English under the guidance of the late Chagdud Tulku, adapted and amplified by this MOOC here. Jay, if it's okay with you, so are you by your lonesome tonight? Are you hanging out with Kevin? Please let me know. In the meantime, let's chant. All these chants are figurative. Oh, Majo Lama, please come to this crown. No infallible constant protector who knows all Dharma things. Oh, Majo Lama, please come to this crown. Oh, infallible constant protector who knows all Dharma things. Oh, Majo Lama, please come to this crown. Oh, infallible constant protector who knows all Dharma things. And now, let us kick back. I could be like the Lama, the archetype of right view and right wish. For I too could master awareness and letting go. I could be like the Lama, the archetype of right view and right wish. For I too could master awareness and letting go. I could be like the Lama, the archetype of right view and right wish. For I too could master awareness and letting go. We're going to chant a little bit faster now. Allow me to remind you that the vulnerability of noticing others' stress sows the seeds of empathy, compassion, and love. The three realms we experience as samsara cycle or like a notion of suffering. The three realms we experience as samsara cycle or like a notion of suffering. The three realms we experience as samsara cycle or like a notion of suffering. It is centered spontaneity that is the key to making the most of our precious meditation opportunities together. It is extremely difficult to find such freedom and opportunities as we have. It is extremely difficult to find such freedoms and opportunities as we have. It is extremely difficult to find such freedom and opportunities as we have. So I wish to protect your privacy, Jay. And what I'm going to do is, in my mind's eye, I'm going to pretend you're lying on your back comfortably, perhaps with a kitty cat upon your chest. And I'll be resting psychically, the center of my right palm upon your navel, gently. I want to push hard. I want to make you lose your lunge. And see if I can't enhance the well-being of what the ancients would have referred to as your earth element. Ever-changing one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. For change makes of clinging folly. Being impermanent, everyone who was born will die. Being impermanent, everyone who was born will die. Being impermanent, everyone who was born will die. Oops. Interdependence is a privilege that allows our love to lighten the loads of others. The results of all beneficial and harmful actions are inevitable. The results of our beneficial and harmful actions are inevitable. The results of our beneficial and harmful actions are inevitable. The key to liberating all others is to master the Buddha's eightfold path. Remembering this may my mantra toward Dharma. Remembering this may my mantra toward Dharma. Remembering this may my mantra toward Dharma. May my mantra toward Dharma. Loving kindness comprises 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May we therefore yearn to free all others from the tyranny of the three mental poisons. Of ever shoving, reaching, and clinging. From now until samsara is emptied, may I long to bring about benefit and happiness for all beings as if they have each been my kind mothers. From now until samsara is emptied, may I long to bring about benefit and happiness for all beings as if they have each been my kind mothers. From now until samsara is emptied, may I long to bring about benefit and happiness for all beings as if they have each been my kind mothers. Buddha's example instructions on students are known metaphorically as the 3 wish-fulfilling jewels. Thus from now until I reach a very height of enlightenment, may I take refuge in the Lama, who embodies the 3 jewels. Thus from now until I reach a very height of enlightenment, may I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the 3 jewels. Thus from now until I reach a very height of enlightenment, may I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the 3 jewels. From now until samsara is emptied, may I bring about benefit and let's try this again. From now until samsara is emptied, I bring about benefit and happiness for all beings as if they have each been my kind mothers. Thus from now until I reach the very heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the 3 jewels. From now until samsara is emptied, I bring about benefit and happiness for all beings as if they have each been my kind mothers. From now until I reach the very heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the 3 jewels. From now until samsara is emptied, may I bring about benefit and happiness for all beings as if they have each been my kind mothers. Thus, from now until I reach the very heart of enlightenment, may I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the 3 jewels. A life squandered in greed and competitiveness leads neither to peace nor fulfillment. To perfect the two accumulations, I offer the body's wealth and splendor of all my lives of the three jewels. To perfect the two accumulations, I offer the body's wealth and splendor of all my lives of the three jewels. To perfect the two accumulations, I offer the body's wealth and splendor of all my lives of the three jewels. Woof. So, we've been practicing trek shows slice through. Now it's time for Tokal's leap over competitiveness and clinging's obstructions to omniscience. Together. Doje Zamba. So, let's place our hands overhead. Doje Zampa inseparable from my Lama is above the crown of my head. Nectar flows from him purifying my obscurations and benza sato. Doje Zampa inseparable from my Lama is above the crown of my head. Nectar flows from him purifying my obscurations and benza sato. Doje Sampa, inseparable from my Lama, is above the crown of my head. Nectar flows from him, purifying my obscurations, Benza Sato. Now, that's kind of weird, so let me see if I can't do something interesting here. That's better. That's prettier. So, having chanted, let us now practice trek shows, slice through the obscuring emotions of hope and fear. Well, that's Jim Dandy. How do we do that? As we silently, mentally, and passively recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we can kick back and watch the antics of mind as it perceives, emotes, intends, reasons, recalls, and imagines. As we silently, mentally, and passively recite the one-syllable verb ease, during our exhalation, we can relax into mind's non-graspable nature. Let's hit copy. So this bit right here, focusing on a crown, was known as tikle, or dealing with subtle energy. There's a great big ugly myth that Dzogchen's for special people who have to jump through all these hoops before they receive the teachings. However, from a certain point of view, all the teachings of Dzogchen that are necessary to master the Buddha's path and then help others do likewise is already in this text. This text is not a preliminary practice to the awesome stuff. This is the awesome stuff. Dissolving in delight, I'm in mind, Father and Mother, blend with my heart and experience of oneness. So I'm going to adjust something here. Wrong one. Okay. Dissolving in delight, I'm in mind, Father and Mother, melt, blend with me an experience of oneness. Dissolving into light, I'm in mind, Father and Mother, blend with me an experience of oneness. According to the great Dzogchen Paltrul Rinpoche, this is the key to tantric empowerment. This is all the tantric empowerment we need right here. In other words, simply practicing this recitation gives us tantric empowerment. Thus, throwing a metaphoric brick through the plate glass window of elitism. I could be like the Yidam, the archetype of effortless effort, mindfulness, and meditation, for I too could master love and letting go. Sixth, so effortless effort is the sixth fold of the Buddha's eightfold path. Mindfulness is the seventh fold of the Buddha's eightfold path, and meditation is the eighth fold of the Buddha's eightfold path. I could be like the Yidam, an archetype of effortless effort, mindfulness, and meditation, for I too could master love and letting go. I could be like the Yidam, the archetype of effortless effort, mindfulness, and meditation, for I too could master love and release. Let's practice the Tokal leap over mental competition. Okay. May all minds of all beings know be as peacefully wise as the mind of a real or imagined Buddha symbolized by a bija one syllable seed mantra hung or tiklane drop. So what we're going to do is take all these words and squeeze them in or condense them down to just 6 syllables that we're going to divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. Now that we're somewhat comfortable with these 6 syllables, we can recite them silently, mentally, and passively during our inhalation. During our exhalation, we can physically relax as best we can while striving to chant this 6-syllable mantra 8 times per breath. If this is your first time hanging out with me, please give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Om benzazadohum, 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 om benzazadohum. And now let's rest the mind. Just as the recitation of Guru Yoga we did a few moments ago is our source of tantric empowerment, similarly, us using these delicious figures of speech to wish others well, intellectually, interpersonally, physically, and circumstantially, is us lavishing all beings everywhere, real or imagined, with tantric empowerment. Once again, transcending the illusion of elitism. Now it's time for Love's interpersonal generation stage practice. Please chant with me, if you please. May all relationships of all beings now be as joyfully loving as a real or imagined Buddha's communication or speech symbolized by this horizontal 6-syllable mantra. Om benzazadohum, om benzazadohum, om benzazadohum, om benzazadohum, om benzazadohum, om benzazadohum, om Benza Sato Hung Om Benza Sato Hung. Whoops. Now it's time for love's physical Tantra Mahamudra. May all bodies or forms of all beings now enjoy the beautiful, healthy, depicted in Buddhist statuary of the blissful body of a Devi or Yadaman archetype of enlightenment. Om Benza Sato Hung 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 Om Benza Sato Hung. Now it's time for love's circumstantial Mahayoga practice. May all circumstances, all lots of all beings now have the safety, good fortune, or boon. As a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land of Vati. Om Benza Sato Hung 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 Om Benza Sato Hung. It's time for the yoga of the figurative rainbow body's contemplation of impermanence and interdependence, also known as Madhyamaka's yoga of inconceivability. All visible circumstances or laws could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this body or form. So we're taking all these words and we're compressing them down into just 6 syllables, which we're dividing between our inhalation and our exhalation. Let's see. Where's the cursor? What did that bad boy get off to? Okay, that's odd. So let's go over here and click this. Where's the cursor? There it is. So again, we're going to do a wee bit of an adjustment. And a bit of the old drag-a-rooney. Let's see. Oops, there we go. Come on now. Let's see if that works okay. Almost. Splendid. All sensual bodies or forms could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could absorb into this communicational speech. How could all resounding interpersonal speech be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully... As if it could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could absorb into this mind. How could all lucid minds be as impermanent and interdependent, as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could absorb into our vast empty void? Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although tantalizing to the eye, could be not graspable to the hand. I could be like the condor, the archetype of actions kind, communication, conduct, and calmness, for I too could master bliss and letting go. This is the essence of morality right here. Let us bring the four bases of mindfulness into the ultimate practice of love and release. Where release is emphasized. As we relax into our exhalation, how could all perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, or imagine... Take two. As we relax into our exhalation, how could all perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, or imagination that we notice during our inhalation feel as non-graspable or void as a Buddha's real or imagined syllable or bija of light? Om Ahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung. As we relax into our exhalation, how could all resounding communication that we perceive during our inhalation feel as non-graspable or void as a Buddha's real or imagined speech or mantra of light? Om Ahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung. As we relax into our exhalation, how could all sensual bodies or forms that we perceive during our inhalation feel as non-graspable of orders and octave of enlightenment or yet of light? Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung. As we relax into our exhalation, how could appearing circumstances or lots that we perceive during our inhalation feel as non-graspable of what is or Buddha's real or imagined, paradise, pure land, or vanity? So, if you've just joined me, welcome aboard. So, all that we're doing here is we're using figures of speech. Because of the nature of our parasympathetic nervous system, whatever we perceive during our inhalation, once we relax into our exhalation, let me rephrase that, I just tripped over my own tongue. Due to the nature of our parasympathetic nervous system, as we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during a previous inhalation could feel less graspable, less tangible, less permanent, less defining. So we're taking all these words and we're compressing them down into just 8 syllables that we're going to divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. Having grown more comfortable with these 8 syllables, we can recite them silently, mentally, and passively during our inhalation. During our exhalation, we can physically relax as best we can while striving to chant this 12-syllable mantra 4 times per breath. Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung. In the sky in front of me, let's try this again. Oh, the joys of editing on the fly, eh, kids? Okay, let's try that again. In the sky in front of me, my rude Lama could appear in the form of Kuntu Zangpo Yam Yam. Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung. So, as we silently, mentally, and passively recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we could kick back and watch the antics of mind as it perceives, emotes, intends, reasons, recalls, and imagines. As we silently, mentally, and passively recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we could relax into mind's non-graspable nature. So what we're doing is we're converting this exercise into mantra meditation. As we breathe in, relaxing into this. As we breathe out, we relax as best we can. We'll strive to chant this mantra 4 times per breath. And if this is your first time hanging out with me, give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung. Embodiment of all Buddhas of the 3 times. Most excellent Lama, I pray to you. Hold me with your compassion in this life, in the bardo, and in future lives. Bless me always throughout the 3 times. Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me Masidi Hum. May I receive all the blessings and empowerments of enlightened form, speech, and mind. Now this is just weird. So let's see if we can't make this pretty. Benzo Guru Kaya Wakatsita Siddhi Hum. 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 That is odd. The Lama dissolves into light and blends with me. In our inseparability, I behold the true face of the ultimate Lama. The union of spontaneous awareness and emptiness. Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung. Let us rehearse the Powa transference of consciousness at the time of death, finding peace by relaxing into the inevitable. I pray to the protector Amitabha. Bless me that I may master the profound path of Powa. I pray to the protector Amitabha, bless me that I may master the profound path of Powa. I pray to the protector Amitabha, bless me that I may master the profound path of Powa. I now give my body, wealth, and virtuous qualities wholeheartedly to all beings as if they had each been my kind mothers. I now give my body, wealth, and virtuous qualities wholeheartedly to all beings as if they had each been my kind mothers. I now give my body, wealth, and virtuous qualities wholeheartedly to all beings as if they had each been my kind mothers. Without hindrance may I ensure enormous benefit for all beings. Without hindrance may I ensure enormous benefit for all beings. Without hindrance may I ensure enormous benefit for all beings. One moment, if you please. May all lots of all beings appearing in Vonu be as safely fortunate as a pure land of law represented in Buddhist paintings. May all minds of all beings lucid yet Vonu be as peacefully enlightened as a Buddha's mind symbolized by a one-syllable Bija. May all speech of all beings resounding in Vonu be as joyfully loving as a Buddha's speech symbolized by mantra. May all forms of all beings sensual yet Vonu be as beautifully healthy as a yet unmarked type depicted in Buddha statuary. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's early meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you. Always.